Um, you know, People ask me all the time, Elon, how do you stay so focused when the whole world's watching you? How do you deal with the noise, the critics, the pressure, and still move forward like nothing happened? And my answer has always been simple. I focus on myself and I stay silent. Not because I'm avoiding the world, but because I'm building something the world can't see yet. In this talk, I want to tell you why that mindset has not only saved my sanity, but made everything I built, Tesla, SpaceX, even the mistakes, possible. I'll share stories I've never told, mistakes I've made, and how you can apply this mindset starting today. So, if you've ever felt distracted, overwhelmed, um, like the world has too much noise, this is for you. Let's talk about the power of silence, the discipline of focus, and how it can change your entire life. Let's talk about the silent beginning. I wasn't always this way. When I was a kid in South Africa, I was quiet, not by choice, but by nature. I got bullied a lot, and my refuge was books, not people. People didn't get me, but I realized that's okay. Because the people who make real change, they don't need to be loud. They need to be obsessed, quietly obsessed. When I moved to Canada and then the US, I didn't have much. I was sleeping on my cousin's floor, eating hot dogs and oranges, trying to find internet cafes to code zip to with my brother Kimball. Nobody knew who I was, and that was my advantage. Because when no one's watching, you can make mistakes, you can experiment, you can build without judgment. That's the beauty of silence. So here's the first lesson. Don't rush to be seen, rush to become. In this world, everyone wants to be loud. Social media rewards noise, hot takes, instant opinions. The louder you scream, the more attention you get. But here's the truth. Most people don't realize attention without direction is destruction. You don't need more attention, you need more intention. Silence gives you space to think clearly, to hear your own voice, to build in the dark while everyone else is tweeting in the light. I remember during the early days of SpaceX, people said we were crazy. NASA wasn't even returning our calls. But we didn't scream back. We focused. We built Falcon 1. It failed. We built it again. It failed again. 3 times. We stayed silent. Because in silence, there's learning, there's listening, there's growth. If we had wasted our time explaining ourselves to every critic, we'd be broke. We didn't win because we talked. We won because we worked. So how do you actually focus on yourself? Here's what works for me and might work for you. 1, cut out unnecessary inputs. Your mind is a supercomputer, but if you're feeding it junk, gossip, negativity, comparison, it crashes. When I'm deep in engineering mode, I turn off everything. No social media, no meetings, unless absolutely necessary, sometimes for weeks. You don't need to respond to everything. Silence is a boundary, a powerful one. 2, build your day around your energy, not your schedule. I work in intense sprints, 4 to 6 hours of deep work. Then I recharge, review, reset. Ask yourself, when are you most focused, most creative? That's your sacred time. Protect it. 3, let your work speak louder than your words. If you have to convince people you're serious, you're not serious enough yet. Let me tell you about 2008. It was the hardest year of my life. SpaceX had 3 failed launches. Tesla was bleeding money. I was going through a divorce. I thought everything was going to collapse. People were laughing at me. Investors pulled out. Magazines declared me finished. And I remember sitting alone in a room, completely silent, just breathing, thinking, praying, honestly. That silence, it didn't feel good. It felt terrifying. But that silence gave me clarity. It reminded me of the mission, why I started SpaceX to make life multiplanetary, why I started Tesla, to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. It was never about being popular. It was about solving real problems. So I put every last dollar I had into both companies. People said it was stupid, but I stayed quiet and I stayed focused. Today, we're still standing because I didn't react, I responded. With work, not words. Let's flip the coin. What happens when you stop focusing on yourself? You get lost. You compare, you chase validation instead of vision. You might win the attention game, but you lose the peace game, and without peace, success becomes stress. I've seen it happen to smart people, brilliant engineers, talented entrepreneurs. They get caught up in what other people think. They overpost, overshare, overexplain, and they burn out. Here's a question to ask yourself and be honest. Are you building your dream or just broadcasting your ego? Let's get practical. Here are tools I use, and you can too. 1. Journaling. Every night I write, not for anyone else. For me, it helps process thoughts, remove noise, and sharpen focus. 2. Strategic silence. Don't respond to criticism immediately. Let time answer. 3. 3 questions before speaking publicly. Does this need to be said? Does it need to be said by me? Does it need to be said now? If the answer is no to any of those, stay silent. 4. Daily discipline. Block out time to do nothing. Literally, silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. Let's talk about building during isolation. There's this idea that isolation is loneliness, but it doesn't have to be. Some of my greatest ideas came when I was most alone. Think about it. When you remove distractions, what's left? You, your thoughts, your truth. In 2017, I spent nights sleeping at the Tesla Gigafactory. We were trying to ramp up Model 3 production. People thought I was insane. They said I was overworking, burning out. But that solitude helped me see the flaws in our system. It gave me time to think deeply, not just manage, but rethink the entire production model. That kind of clarity only comes in isolation. So here's the lesson. Isolation is not punishment, it's preparation. If you feel alone right now, maybe that's not a weakness. Maybe that's your signal to go inward, to build something the world hasn't seen yet. Because when no one is calling you, no one is inviting you out, no one believes in you, you're free to become someone new. You're not behind. You're being refined. So I want to ask you, what are you hearing in your silence? Are you using it or resisting it? Let's talk about pain. Pain is inevitable, but suffering, that's optional. Every painful moment in my life, personal or professional, has produced growth, but only when I leaned into it. That year, again, I was watching both Tesla and SpaceX fall apart. I was $100 million in debt, and my first marriage was collapsing. I wanted to disappear, but instead, I went deeper. Pain is not just something to survive, it's something to learn from. I stopped trying to control things outside of my hands and focused on what I could control, the engineering, the systems, the strategy. And here's the wild part. When I stopped trying to fight the pain, it turned into productivity. I didn't drink it away. I didn't party it away. I built with it. If you're in pain right now, I get it. But ask yourself, can this pain produce something in me? Because maybe the breakdown is your invitation to a breakthrough. Let's talk about using doubt as fuel. People doubted every single thing I've ever built. They said PayPal was stupid, that people would never trust money online. They said Tesla was a joke, that electric cars would never scale. They said rockets could never be privately built. And they still say things, even today. But here's what I've learned. Doubt is energy, and you can direct it. I don't fight critics, I use them. When people say I can't, I say, watch me. Not out loud, not on Twitter, but in the lab, in the code, in the numbers. Turn your doubt into data. Turn it into late nights, into extra reps, into research. Because nothing shuts up doubt like success. Ask yourself, who are you trying to prove wrong? And are you proving it with action or argument? Choose action. Let your silence build your case. Here's a truth that might hurt. Most people don't have a vision. They have wishes. A vision is long-term. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't get bored. It doesn't quit at the first failure. SpaceX wasn't about just launching rockets. It was about making humanity multiplanetary. That vision still pulls me out of bed. Even when I'm tired, even when I'm doubted, your silence becomes powerful when it's anchored in vision. If you don't know where you're going, the silence will feel like emptiness. But if you know your direction, it becomes your shield. Ask yourself, what's your obsession? What's the thing you would build even if no one clapped? If you don't have one, start there. Find it, because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more obsessed builders. Here's my unspoken philosophy. There's a belief I hold that I rarely talk about. Be so good that they can't ignore you, but be so silent that they can't predict you. Predictability is vulnerability. When people know what you'll do, they can block you. But when you move in silence, when you disappear to work, reemerge with results, and disappear again, you become unstoppable. I don't post every move. I don't justify every decision, because I'm not building for now. I'm building for 20 years from now. And you should be too. Here's how you live that way. 1. Guard your mind like a vault. Feed it only what fuels you. Cut the rest. 2. Speak less. Execute more. If you have to explain your dream to everyone, maybe it's not big enough yet. Let it become undeniable. 3. Track your progress in silence. Private journals, whiteboards, blueprints, not likes. 4. Let people underestimate you. It's your greatest advantage. Use it. And finally, 5. Never confuse noise for movement. A hurricane makes noise, but a rocket makes history. Let me ask you something right now. Who are you when the world isn't watching? Who are you when the likes stop, when the applause fades, when the noise disappears? That version of you, that's the version that builds empires. That's the version you want to master. So here's your challenge. This week, stay silent and focus on yourself. Don't announce your goals. Don't prove your worth. Don't explain your journey. Just build. Work, create. Let your silence become the foundation. Let your focus become your advantage. Because in the end, the most powerful move is the one nobody sees coming. I want you to remember something. People who are truly dangerous don't need to talk. Their results scream louder than any words ever could. You're not behind. You're not too late. You're just distracted. And once you remove the distractions, you'll realize you already have everything you need to win. Silence, focus, discipline. That's how you change your life. That's how you change the world. So stay silent. Focus on yourself. And when the time comes, let your work do the talking. If you take one thing from this talk, let it be this. Silence is not weakness. It's your greatest power. Focus on yourself. Tune out the noise. Work in silence. Let your life